And to start this company right now from scratch, it would cost you $850,000. And he says, don't you remember, I told you that I already have an investor going to give me roughly $3 million.
Now, on that note, I would say, well, if you were, he's an accountant.
Yes.
If you were so fucking smart, you wouldn't have your ass stuck with somebody's dick right now. And don't give me the $3 million bullshit. Hope springs eternal. Let me see the term sheet. Or if you want to be softer, don't say the first part I just said. Just say, oh, I'd be glad. I would consider matching the term sheet if you send it on to me. Well, there is no fucking term sheet. And it's bullshit.
Tell him his net profit in 2015.
What's his net profit?
Oh, $1,000.
What?
$1,300.
It's crap.
I mean, he wasn't one of your wealth customers at the bank, huh? No.
And we decided to go to the bank and just buy the.
Yeah, I mean, did you go back to the bank and said,
I just emailed him again. I said, hey, me and his name's the owner's name. I said, he knows the owner. I said, the owner we couldn't come to an agreement, but I would be interested in purchasing his note. If this opportunity ever came about again, you just call me and we can talk about it.
Without even asking.
Yeah, well, you don't have to ask them. I mean, that's the whole point. And the point is, when the financial institutions know that you're willing to buy sorry debt, I mean, there used to be, you can't do this anymore, that I'm aware of. You could buy portfolios of bad debt. Okay, let's say that the original amount of the debt, let's say the face amount of the debt was $100 million. And so, I mean, Lehman and all the big guys used to have these. And they'd say, okay, we'll sell the $100 million face value for starting bids at $12 million. Okay, and so you used to bid blindly. And then at the end of the day or at the end of the week, they'd call you up and say, okay, you got this much. And then you'd get the debt and you'd see what you wanted to keep. And there used to be a secondary and a tertiary market. You could lay off the debt because then you'd lay off a portion of the debt to some bottom fisher scumbag who will go and pound them, repossess their cars, serve notices on their pregnant daughters at 3 a.m. looking for a miscarriage. And then there was even a lower form of shitbag that would come and put clamps on your fucking car, their cars, I mean,
sounds funny.
Yeah, I mean, they come out of a meeting and there'd be clamps on the car and they'd be towing your fucking car away. Okay, but this is legitimate. But once the financial institutions know that that's the kind of investment you're willing to make, I'd be surprised if the next year you're not called a bunch of times.
Really?
Yeah. But what you want is more than one bank to know that.
Okay. So he calls me back. So let's just play the scenario. He calls me back and says, okay, let's say of the 180K, we have 100K. Do I say, I'll pay you 50K for that 100K?
Oh, no. You ask, okay, have you written it off yet?
Okay. And if he says no?
Okay. If it's written off, that means it's on the books for nothing. He's written it off as a loss. They've written it off, and now because there's not several. There's a few valuations of bad debt. There's people that are behind 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and then at some level, it used to be, I don't know if it still is, 6 months. They have to make a determination whether that goes into the super bad debt or they're still fucking around with you. Okay. Normally after 1 year, when it goes from short term to long term, is when it gets written off completely. And when it gets written off completely, now it's on the books for zero. So they've already taken the hit. They've already said, well, we're never going to get this fucking money back. So then they start looking for people to buy it from, or buy it from them, I should say. And that's when people buy debt. In the old days, Sam Zell of Chicago used to do this. And I've done it before, where, I'll give you 8 cents on the dollar, or 28 cents on the dollar. But before you do that, you want to know what the fucking bad debt's associated with. Is it associated with a house? Do they have tenants? Or is it some, fucking old cement truck that, is rusted away?
Well, that's what, and I asked him on the email, I said, what is this collateralized with? What is your loan collateralized against? Because that's what I want to know, too.
Okay. And it may not be collateralized.
And if it's not.
For that small amount of money.
Okay.
Okay. So now, even though he may not have thought of it this way, but that's if it's not collateralized, that's very close to debt that is that the bank, in their infinite wisdom, assigned to them. It's really non-recourse. If it's nothing's collateralizing the money, that's not. They can't attach anything other than his signature. If he's got a signature, then they can go after his assets. But and sometimes you'll find a non-recourse loan that doesn't even have a signature. But I'm sure this guy must. Well, I'm not sure of anything. But it's more likely that this guy has signed for it. So he's on the hook.
Yeah, this is a fairly well-known bank on the West Coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's on the hook, and if I buy the note from him, from the bank, I can go after his assets.
Depends on the structure of the note. That's all, there's different ways to skin these cats, and but you did the right thing. You approached him above board, the owner of the note, right?
Yeah.
And he told you to fuck off.
Yeah.
Basically, okay. You don't know. I mean, that's people. Somebody wrote a book sometime. I don't know when it was. That you always come back and I got 3 offers and I got this and I got 90% of the time they got no offers. Whenever anybody ever told you that I have 2 other offers, it's bullshit. 90%, 10% of the time it is true, but 90% of the time it's bullshit. They have no offers. They have a hope. They have a prayer. Somebody told them they knew a wealth banker in Switzerland named Dom who might. And that's their offer. That's bullshit.
And so you just call them on and say, well, send me the term sheet.
Yeah. I might be willing to match the term sheet.
Okay.
And that will rock him. That will rock him back. Because one, he doesn't have a term sheet. He may not know what a term sheet is, and so he's going to call somebody and ask what a term sheet is. And remember, I told you at the beginning of the regular seminar, you're going to be able to play the other instruments in the financial orchestra all at once, because you're going to have use of not just terminology, but other tools. That the big guys, use. And the example I gave you from 2005, when Carl Icahn bought the debt from Trump's 2 of his casinos, or 3 of his casinos, and took control of the casinos. And I show you that headline from 2005. I mean, the guys have been doing this shit since Carnegie.
And they get addictive to doing that again.
And that's why it's very difficult to get bottom feeders, as they're called, off the bottom, because they've developed a whole infrastructure. Because there's a whole other infrastructure. He was a professional. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt here. He was a professional, high-level banker, Swiss wealth banker in billions in Switzerland. Okay. Then there's several level of bankers below that, one of which is bottom feeders that just go around, and it's just like a scum-sucking bottom feeder looking for buying shit 10 cents on the dollar or whatever. And then there's lenders that only lend at the bottom feeders. And so, but that's but you've developed, if you're one of those, you've developed an infrastructure that knows how to deal with those people, that knows how to go and put clamps on the fucking Mercedes. Because the last thing guys normally give up are planes, boats, cars, and penthouses. Those are the last assets they divest themselves of. I'll say it again. Planes, boats, cars, and penthouses. And really big-titted blonde sluts. But, I mean, that's the last things that they best of. Because those are the play toys. Those are the play toys.
So if you own the note, you can go after those assets. You own those assets for what you...
No. You own the assets that are collateralized by the note.
Okay. And if it happens to
Now, if the note takes them under... If you take, that's a whole other game. But I mean, sometimes you go in and you say, okay, I want my 100 grand. They can't do it. And it says, well, then it only takes 2 creditors in this country to push into bankruptcy. How many in Switzerland?
I don't know.
Okay, 2 creditors in this country can push you into bankruptcy. 2 people you don't pay. Listen up, you 2 morons. 2 people you don't pay, you're in arrears, can force you into bankruptcy in Britain.
How about the States?
I'm not sure in the States. I haven't done that in 30 years in the United States. In every country, not every country, the EU probably has a policy. Of course, Britain's not part of the EU anymore, so I don't know what it is. But I'm sure you can Google it. But I mean, just imagine 2 creditors. A creditor for 5,000 pounds and a creditor for 500 pounds. So obviously you pay them. Because the lawyer is going to cost you more than that, right? And the farmers up here know how to play that game. And the suppliers to the farmers know how to play that game. Because the farmers, and no offense, my farming neighbors, I mean, you're not well known for paying your debts on time. But the other side of it is you force one of the big guys up here into bankruptcy, and then it's in the paper. I mean, then you made an enemy. And then the farmers, I'm told, will gather together and we'll stop using Deere tractors. Because Deere or Caterpillar or Mitsubishi or whoever the fuck. So you got to be careful, but they can do that. Suppliers can force people into bankruptcy.
So if someone's behind on their note for 30 days, can you do the same thing?
Well, no, it depends. No, the 30 days, no. It depends where the bank has it.
Okay.
If your guy sent you, told you, exactly what did he tell you?
He just said this gentleman's having trouble with his making
debt service.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it may be 6 months that he's had trouble. Better for you if it's 6 months.
Okay.
And there's nothing illegal, immoral about it. And there's nothing, it's not against political correctness. It's just, it's another financial tool that most kids don't understand. Kids meaning, you that are here for the hardcore, and the kids on YouTube.
So your experience has been the banker probably won't call me until it's to the point where I can actually buy the note. I mean,
no, well, if he told you, it's in trouble.
Okay.
Bankers just don't say, I got a bad customer, a bad credit. They don't tell you that. That's confidential information. I mean, the confidentiality rules are very strict for bankers, aren't they? Yes. He even says it. Yes. He whispers it. I mean, you just can't willy-nilly be telling people about that kind of stuff.